We're going to talk about 5 coins that I believe potentially could do a 10x from here. So hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a like, and obviously a comment as well. It helps the algorithm send this video to the moon. Now, let's talk about some coins. Now, first thing, I want to go over a few bits and pieces first. Dominance chart still looking okay, relatively, well, you could argue low, but it can go a lot lower. If it does go lower, things are going to go whoopsie right the way up to the top, which is always important. So, talking about obvious dynamics in the market, Bitcoin bounced really nicely off the 618 levels. As you know, on Twitter, follow me, I mentioned this target, it bounced off it quite nicely. So we'll see what happens. Maybe the next move up could be a lot higher than the previous high, but I want it to go sideways. I know you do too. Anyways, what else to talk about? Well, there's a thing happening tonight, and over the course of the weekend, we all know that this is taxation month. March is never good for crypto, right? Historically anyways. But you've also got a massive amount of quarterly expiries. It is the end of the quarter. 6 billion technically going to expire tonight, so at the time of you watching this, it's probably going to get to the crunch time. So just be mindful of a bit of volatility tonight, potentially, which could be interesting. So just be careful of it. How does this work? Well, basically every quarter, a lot of money has been backed up, and then they expire. People can either leave them running or close them. Usually a mixture of both happens. Some people let them run if they can, and some people let them close. But ideally, we need to see where it goes. The numbers and the dynamic of the numbers state that they are looking for a lower price Bitcoin for most of it because of obviously the run. But as it stands, people are buying. People are buying the dips. The outflow of exchange volume is going out, so people are taking it as a cold storage. So people are buying this dip. So if they want it lower, it's looking unlikely to happen at the minute. So just keep an eye on it. But yeah, 50k is huge. But the prospect of 47,500 was kind of on the offing, but I don't think it's going to happen now. Anyways, let's talk about 5 coins that, I'll be honest with you, I only own one of these, which is kind of cool. Have a guess which one. But I do have an invested interest in these through a little bit of research to understand the dynamic of the use case. Now, I'm sorry guys, a lot of people complain because I pick obvious picks. If you want me to promote crap, I can and I will, but I'm not. The reason being, I'm responsible for people in that sense. People listen and comment and do certain things that I do. I teach, I put my money on the line, I walk the walk. Just be careful of what to say in comments, please. Just a little pointer. If you want me to promote something you've never heard of and only some certain types of people are promoting it, it's because they're getting paid to do it. I'm not going to be that guy. Sorry. So, we're going to go with number 1. Now, this one has been on my radar for about 3 or 4 months, and I like this. I've not bought it yet, and I'm interested in it. This is, in my opinion, got a really, really solid use case. It's a cacher network. And this, yesterday, Atom Cosmos had a little bit of a hack on my website, and they tweeted about this, saying that there may be time for them to move their website onto this network. Now, what is it? You're probably asking me the simple question. It is a decentralized cloud network for websites, basically. So when you think about what is it? You've got Cloudflare and you've got Amazon Marketplace, basically, right? Where website servers are decentralized, technically decentralized, all over. So file sharing files are all over the world, so you can load your website faster, and it's also not at one point of failure. However, it's still centralized, right? So Amazon are controlling your website. AWS is called, there we go. This is the version of that, but it's decentralized. It's on an open source cloud where there's no control. So technically it shouldn't crash, technically. So when we start talking about problems, and whenever that goes down, all the exchanges goes down, all the problems, my website goes down, everything goes down, because I think the vast majority of the internet is on either Cloudflare, and Amazon. They all link together. This is the variation where it's not. It's like it's out of the pool essentially. It's like decentralized. So this is why I like the look of it. More and more exchanges, I feel, are going to go over to this sort of system, in my opinion. More and more big websites as well, because people can infiltrate them by hacking and cause disruption. Big volume into Binance, it crashes. If the whole network goes down, it crashes anyway, so it's pointless. So for me, I'm talking 10x's here. This, in my opinion, is undervalued. Why? It's only worth, as it stands, current market valuation in terms of circulating supply, we've got $224 million. I don't think that's undervalued. Why? Because I think as more and more people use this and approach and adopt this, bigger entities, bigger coins, likes of Atom potentially going onto this, that's a big step in itself. More and more people will probably follow. The likes of Ethereum potentially could go onto this very, very easily. You know, anything can go onto it. If there's websites that need to be up all the time, well, guess what they're going to use? Something that will probably not go down. Pretty cool. Moving on to the next one, API 3. Again, this is of interest because of the growing interest in decentralized applications for Web 3.0. The word decentralization. A lot of the apps you see around, even in crypto, are not decentralized. They are in some ways, but they have centralized issues, i.e. how to get them online. So data sources are a problem. Oracles are great. They are the lifeblood of information. So when you think decentralization, you think, what is the problem with decentralization mixed with an oracle is oracles are centralized, most of it. Most of them are centralized because it is a true representation of data on a centralized system for people to input, edit, change, whatever. The ability to decentralize that is kind of an issue. So this is what kind of bridges that gap essentially. When you start thinking about smart contracts, yes, they're great, but if you are taking information from a centralized source, it kind of ruins that integrity, whereas this aims to be fully decentralized, which is kind of important to kind of decentralize that centralized form before it hits that smart contract. So when you think about online betting, when you think about results, polls, all kinds of stuff like that, there has to be some sort of data source for the information. If it's all coming from centralized sources, it can be manipulated. So this is what it aims to do. So that's kind of important for me. I like the look of it. It's obviously a DAO, it's governed in that way. Data provider, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but when we talk about information, it's currently got a valuation of current circulating supply of $80 million. Oracles, we all know Chainlink, we all know Band. Well, this could be the one that could really shoot to the moon, because you got to think, in my opinion, I like Chainlink in certain ways. Some things I don't like about it, but this, for me, infrastructure-wise, decentralization, packs a bigger punch, in my opinion, and it's also less visible. Moving on to the next one, we're going to go into the world of DeFi. Is the Yield app. Wow. So undervalued, mentioned it a couple of months back, and for me, this is going to become more and more apparent. I could talk about a lot more of these, by the way, but I'm talking about the one that's relatively new, not got much eyeballs, so I thought, why not? I like the look of it, and it's something that I'm looking to test in the next few months. Now, we're talking about here information distribution exchanges. It's only on a couple of exchanges, as you can allude to. More and more people will use it, the platform, that will increase the net worth of it. Apologies of my pronunciations there. But when we talk about earning passive income, yes, do your research, don't just put your money into anything. But when we talk about what is doing well, you can kind of look left and right and find a load of DeFi protocols that use certain protocols, Compound, A, for example, Curve, even the Binance staking apps, certainly, they all have some sort of degree of security within their smart contracts, and most importantly, use case. The use case is, I can put my money in there, I can make some money. You can see here, it is licensed and regulated, it's got some insurance on there as well. That's a good step in the right direction for trust. But when you think about the future, the bear market, what could happen in the future of price action, but if you can lock up your money and earn a little percentage on it, like a savings account, well, it's going to become more and more popular with normal people. So Yield app, in my opinion, undervalued versus majority of the market. $65 million current price of the circulating supply. The next one is Luxor. Now, why this? Well, this is interesting. This is really, really interesting. Yes, it's popped. It's also retraced. But when we start talking about how the competitive nature of Ethereum is going, reading this, the developer, Fabian Vungstella, is basically the author and creator of what we all know as the ERC20 standard. So we think about Polkadot, Cardano, all these companies that are now being built from key members of Ethereum. Now, let me just explain what it is in basic terms. Now, I think this is undervalued as well due to what it is. It's the beginning of a new digital economy. So it's an infrastructure based on a blockchain providing standards and solutions for physical and digital goods. Basically, the likes of NFTs and stuff like that. So when we start talking about how things are kind of protrude on the blockchain, well, it's going to be tokenized in certain ways. So you've got cultural currencies, digital certificates, and universal public profiles. Now, when we talk about how this kind of works, the digital authentication of people is going to get more and more apparent as things get into the digital age. You've obviously got cultural sort of stuff as well, such as interest, status, participation, and value of global scale. So we're talking about this and its early roots. And for me, I think this is undervalued. When you start thinking of who's in charge of this is kind of very, very important. That is a massive pull for anyone to be involved in anything. And the creator of this is the part of the lifeblood of what Ethereum has kind of grew from. That's kind of important. And you can look at the advisors. The advisors are absolutely filthy. Look at him. Wow. Unbelievable. So when we're talking about how this will kind of work, this is all around making things legitimate, essentially, like counterfeit and stuff like that. So creating that kind of standard for a physical or a digital object as a standard token, which we all know Ethereum ERC20 is like the best in terms of its simplicity and how it works. That is kind of important for me. And as a use case, I think that is pretty much solid and under the radar massively. $60 million in terms of circulating value. That's crazy when you think about it. So not many tokens out at the moment. Yes, there's going to be more coming out. Obviously, you can make sure you check out the reported values and stuff, so that may be diluted at 234 million. But even still, when we think about the partnerships there, that could be worth a lot more money in the future. Moving on to the last one is Federal Reserve. Now, this is the one that I really have a big interest in. I've invested in this. I like this one a lot. Just to make this very, very apparent, this is like essentially like Aave and stuff like that, like Curve, but for big money. So we see mid-market DeFi solution for the big money. So when we talk about this, it's a banking software that is built on the blockchain technology of banking products for smaller US Treasury chartered banks. So we're not talking just normies and retail, we're talking about big liquidity providers here, using a traditional sort of system in terms of how it works, but on a blockchain built for crypto. This is kind of big in my opinion. Good team of very, very vastly experienced in the financial sector and also in cryptocurrency. So for me, I think this is majorly under the radar in terms of how it kind of works. Roadmap, pretty cool as well. If we go down to the roadmap, it's got a lot of things coming out very, very soon. Got more exchanges coming, more eyeballs, and as I say, team is pretty awesome. A very, very nice guy as well. In terms of if you look on the Telegram group, it is definitely worth a punt. Now, moving on to valuation. Don't have a full market cap yet. However, full diluted, $111 million. For me, money flowing into this could be very, very interesting. It could be worth the billions in the future. So there we have it. All the coins somewhat done. Hope you enjoy. 5 coins, I believe that will do 10x in the next year or so. Very, very interesting use cases, very, very obvious use cases in some ways, with good teams, good mechanisms, good tokenomics as well in certain cases. So please make sure you check them out and have a great weekend. And I'll see you again very, very soon.